This is one of the oldest wineries in Saint-Émilion.
Nested on the edge of this legendary wine region, right where Saint-Émilion meets Pomerol, lies Château Corbin. This isn't just any estate, it's a place where history seeps through every grapevine, every stone, every glass of wine. It's said that the story of Corbin stretches back to the 15th century, where these very lands were part of the domain of the Black Prince, a formidable figure from the 100 Years' War. Today, it's surrounded by some of the most iconic names in wine: Cheval Blanc, Figuiac, Petrus, yet Corbin holds its own, standing as a quiet testament to resilience, heritage and tradition. This year marks a century of Corbin being in the same family, a rare feat in a fast-paced, ever-changing world. And that got me thinking, how do places like this survive for so long? How do they thrive? What's the secret to not just existing but thriving for hundreds of years? So I decided to reach out to hear their story. At first I thought about something grand, maybe a handwritten letter, or perhaps an email. It would certainly be faster. But then I noticed something surprising. They were already following us on Instagram. That felt like the perfect way. And so I sent it. And now we wait. Until, out of the blue, a reply. Annabelle, the owner of Château Corbin, didn't just say yes, she invited us for the very next morning. So I called my business partner to share the news, and without hesitation we both started packing. After landing in Bordeaux, we rented a car and started our journey towards the Saint-Émilion region, about 45 minutes away. This place is like a treasure chest of winemaking history, home to some of the oldest and most famous vineyards in the world. The landscape changes as you drive, with rolling hills and rows of vine that seem to stretch endlessly. Finally, we reached Château Corbin, where Annabelle greeted us with a warm welcome. She led us to the front of the chateau, where our tour began. Right away, she began to share the story of Corbin, an estate dating back to the 15th century, one of the oldest in Saint-Émilion.
In 1924, my grandparents, they bought the chateau. So this year it's 100 years in our family. This chateau was built at the end of the 18th century, but this is the recent part of the chateau, because the oldest part is this tower over there.
Yeah.
And a pigeon tower, which is at the back of the garden. We're gonna see it. And they are from 15th and 16th century.
From the front of the chateau, we walked over to the vineyard where Nicolas, their viticulture and enology specialist, joined us. As we strolled among the vines, he and Annabelle shared some fascinating details about Corbin's terroir. The vineyard spans 13 hectares in a single block, right on the border of the Pomerol appellation. The soil here is a unique blend, ancient sands with iron-rich clay beneath, bringing delicacy and fineness, while the clay on the Pomerol side adds richness. This combination gives Corbin's wines their complexity and elegance. Over the years, Annabelle and her team have fine-tuned the plots, increasing vine density and renewing selected areas to bring out the best quality. And just as we were taking it all in, something completely unexpected happened right there in the vineyard.
Ah! Wow, Nicolas!
The first flower.
The first one! You see it?
The first flower.
The first flower. Ah, super!
We arrived on the best day to catch the first
Yes.
flower of the 24th vintage.
Just for you.
Amazing.
Good surprise. Bravo, Nicolas.
About the technical details of the vineyard, what are the row distances and the
It's
plant
1.5 meter
Okay.
between two rows and 80 centimeters between two
in the
vines.
vines?
Because we have a higher density than the normal one. And so we have a Guyot simple pruning.
Pruning system, yeah. And what is the typical yield per grapevine? How many bunches?
You can say approximately 7-8 bunches
7, 8 bunches, I see.
per vine.
And as we were talking, we spotted an inter-row cultivator working between the vines. Such a cool machine, so we had to check it out.
So when you have a fruit, the fruit touch these parts and the machine retracts. And when the fruit pass, the machine
Comes back.
go to the middle. It's easy, it's simple,
Yeah, but very
but
smart.
not easy to drive.
Of course, you have to be very precise. And what happens if there are like maybe a smaller vine or something that cannot press it, or are there some accidents?
Yes.
This can happen. It's a sort of disease, we call it tractose.
The tractor's disease.
It can kill the vine.
Very dangerous disease.
Yes. It's going to be like 2 months, we can say, from now to changing color.
Yeah. Veraison.
Exactement. And then we can say 40, 45 days until picking.
And what is the average age of the vines?
The oldest is like 60,
Wow.
and the average is around 32, 33 years.
And how do you select the different plots?
In fact, all the vineyard is for the grand vin. Okay? All is classified, and all the plot can produce some grand vin.
I see. So
But
it's not
then-
selected.
So we
not
have
separated by the
we're gonna
plot.
see inside in the cellar, in the vat room, we have a special vat room with one vat per each plot of the vineyard.
Okay.
Meaning we can be very precise to pick the grapes when they are ripe, and we can adapt the process of fermentation, extraction
Of course.
to each plot. And then at the end of the fermentation, we taste all of our lot of wine
Yep.
from different tanks. We do our selection after the fermentation, and then we blend, and then we age our blend. The blend is Merlot and Cabernet Franc. So here you can understand the story of the building with the pigeon tower,
Oh yeah. You
which
mentioned
was
in the beginning.
the pigeon were sending the email of the
Oh wow.
at that period, much better than today
Yeah.
to communicate.
So this is where the production begins. This is where you bring in the grapes.
We pick by hand
Okay.
in little bins. We bring them here, and then we have 2 sorting tables, and then the grapes they go in the tanks.
Wow.
This is the bathroom. We have 18 little tanks for the 18 plots from the vineyard.
Yeah.
So it is very nice to work with concrete. And so there is a very good surface of extraction.
Extraction, yeah.
And so at the end of the fermentation, when we do the blend, then we age our blend here
Oh wow.
in this cellar, mainly in barrel, but also for a smaller part, then globe in glass, and a little part in concrete, because we like to keep some purity.
Of course, not to
freshness
overwhelm it
from
with
the
the
fruit.
oak. Yeah.
Exactly.
After exploring the fermentation and barrel rooms, we headed to the tasting room, the part we'd been looking forward to. We were about to taste the 2019 vintage alongside our first primeur, the 2023, sampling the wine's future potential straight from the barrel.
So we will start the tasting by 19.
Oh wow.
Wow.
It's crazy. I have some flower aromas,
Yeah.
like rose.
Such intensity. What should we know about the 2019 vintage? How was the year?
It was a good vintage. It was a good maturity. At the moment, we really love showing Corbin 19 because it is one of the best vintage showing at the moment.
Yeah, it's
We like the classical side, but also all the aromas coming on the nose just when you open the bottle.
yeah,
So it's
approachable and
it's very
easygoing.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, both. And this is very, very really representative of what Corbin is in the way we are. Our terroir is finesse, elegance, complexity, and it gives to our wine a lot of accessibility for the consumer,
Yeah.
even the new consumer. You put the wine on the table, and I think even someone who don't
Yeah.
know about wine can
Exactly.
have such a lot of pleasure with it and can understand the wine.
Yeah, I think this is the great challenge, and this wine is the perfect example of being a wine that is easy to understand for a newer consumer as well. They can enjoy it, but still carries such a complexity and value.
So the one we are going to taste now is the 23 vintage. Just Nicolas did the sample, make the sample this morning
Oh wow! So it's
with wine
fresh.
from the barrel,
Yeah.
from the globes, from the tank, and in good proportion for
I see. So
our,
it was just
what will be our
blended. I see. Yeah.
Exactly. And we are so happy with our 23. We love it. And we just released it in the primeur market yesterday.
Very exciting moment. Oh wow! Such freshness. Very minty.
You think?
Yeah. Also licorice.
It was not an easy vintage to make
Okay.
due to the weather, etc., the condition. But at the end, the picking we did, the weather we had for the harvest was fantastic, and all the conditions finally. I mean that it was such a big job.
Yeah.
A lot of work, a lot of precision of details. But then at the end, the result is so beautiful. It's a vintage where the terroir is very present.
Okay.
We know some people will not like, others will love it.
Of course.
But anyway, we want, even if they don't like, we want them to be able to say, wow,
Exactly.
I think something, it's a real experience.
Yes. Yes.
Just not to be neutral.
Yeah. That's a very nice way to
Just
put
be
it.
able to feel something strong.
Can you explain for our followers the primeur system? Because I think lots of people doesn't understand this. This is a very unique Bordeaux way.
The primeur system, it is very special system from Bordeaux, for the Grand Cru Classé from Bordeaux. In fact, we just released on the market yesterday our 23 vintage en primeur to our customer to be able to buy a wine still aging in our cellar, giving them the opportunity to buy a wine in very good condition of price before the wine is bottled. The wine will be bottled in 1 year. All our customers, if they buy it, they will get the wine at the end of 25. In fact, just yesterday we released the wine to our 40 wine merchants from Bordeaux. And then our wine merchant resale the wine all over the world.
Yep.
And so people have the possibility everywhere in the world, quite everywhere, to buy some Château Corbin en primeur and to receive it in their cellar at the end of 25.
It's a very interesting system. So all the wine that you sell only through the merchants.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is no direct sales from the cellar.
Just for visitors coming at Corbin.
Yeah.
Of course, we welcome all the visitors coming here. Try to give them a real experience of what Corbin is.
Well, I would recommend to all of our followers to experience this.
So what do you think of the 2023. Is it one of your first experience with primeur tasting?
Yes, the first
Yes,
one.
the first one?
Yes, the first primeur tasting. Well, I'm amazed, and I think it's already enjoyable, but it has great potential. And as you mentioned, you can really feel the same style between the two. Obviously, they are very different due to the age, but I think I can feel the Corbin DNA.
It's the main purpose of wine. And if we make wine, it's for pleasure.
Exactly.
Pleasure to be together, pleasure to be able to speak about I like, I don't like, but why. And there is so many to share with wine.
After finishing the first primeur tasting of our lives, we spent a bit more time discussing, capturing a few more shots around the chateau, and even flying the drone to take in the full view of Château Corbin. We thought this would be the perfect conclusion to our story here. But something still felt incomplete, and we had no idea what was about to unfold next. After our visit, we spent a few more days in the region before heading home, but the story didn't end there. A few days later, while casually browsing a wine auction site, I stumbled upon something that stopped me in my tracks. Two bottles of Château Corbin. Not just any vintage though, these were from 1996. Mark and I were both born in 1996. 2 bottles, for the two of us, from our birth year. It was almost too perfect, like fate had stepped in. I knew I had to have them. What followed was a fierce bidding war. Nerve-wracking. And then, victory. We had won the bottles. Now, all that was left was to wait. To continue this journey, traveling back in time 28 years.
So the package just arrived and we are going to unbox it with Mark.
Can't wait.
And let's open it up and take out the two 1996 Château Corbin bottles. Are you ready?
Of course.
Oh wow, perfect condition. The feel level is perfect on both of them, as I can see. Yeah,
Yes.
all full. Also the labels are in good condition. This one has a slight little bit of tear.
Actually, it's very interesting that the capsules have the silhouette of the Château Corbin building. As you can see, this here.
Yeah, and actually I think they changed the label on their new bottle. Oh, actually, I have their new bottle here as well. Let's compare it. So since 1996, they probably changed the design. This one has a more modern look, but the informations are pretty much the same. And the chateau building's image this one is from farther behind with the stone columns. What do you think? Which one do you like more?
I like this one more.
Yeah, this one is a bit cleaner. So we have arrived with the two 1996 bottles. Obviously we are only going to open one of them to taste it, and we are really excited to taste the wine the same age as we are, especially after visiting Château Corbin. So should we start?
Yes. Or should we use the Corbin?
Actually, so let's open it up. Ready?
Yes. Okay. Let's pour some.
1996.
It has a really nice brownish color.
Yeah. And I think I did something wrong with the Corbin because it is leaking a bit on the side, but it's not the point right now. All right. Cheers.
Yes, cheers.
Oh, wow. The nose is actually pretty fresh. I mean, 1996, it was a pretty good vintage in Bordeaux, in Saint-Émilion.
It's very complex.
It still has lots of fruity aromas, some blackberries, some plums, some figs, lots of dried fruits.
Okay, so let's taste it.
Let's jump into it. Wow, if I would have tasted this wine blind, I couldn't have guessed the age. The tannin structure is still feels so tight and even young. The taste and the mid-tones, it feels that it's pretty round, and the aged aromas are definitely there. With time, it definitely opens up. I think we should try with the Corbin aerator as well in a few minutes to see how it develops, because after so many years, 28 years, it definitely needs some fresh air to open up. What is interesting is that I think the finish, for some reason, is a little bit shorter. The mid palate is very intense, very nice, round, but I was expecting a little bit longer finish. But it's definitely a fantastic experience to be able to taste this wine
From our year?
from our year. Always a really nice experience to travel back in time and to experience these connections. What happened in Bordeaux, in hundreds of kilometers from our home, all those hardworking people making this wine, and now after so many years we met here.
Enjoying this wine?
Okay, I think we should try the aerator and let the wine to breathe a little bit and see how it looks. Actually, this is the first time we are going to try the aerator. You want to install it? Yes. You already tried to put it on.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I'm curious if there is going to be any difference with the aerator. Okay. Wow, that's so nice. Looks nice. Wow. Man, I didn't
you can
expect.
feel the difference?
I didn't expect to have such a big difference.
Okay, let's try.
Wow, it opened up so much.
Whoa!
Whoa, just from this little difference.
Wow.
It's a lot more intense. You can feel a lot more aromas now, the dried fruit characters, a lot fruitier.
So, we can say that it really works.
Yeah, thumbs up to Greg, the inventor of Corbin. Actually, we had a podcast episode with him, so you can check it out if you click in the description. Such a nice wine. What do you say? Can you feel the DNA of Corbin, the thing that we talked about with Annabelle, that they are trying to have their style and make sure that their wine is recognizable? Obviously, we should mention that this vintage, when this vintage was made, if I am right, Annabelle was not leading the winery yet. But still, can you feel the terroir, the Corbin DNA?
I think I can, as we were this year at Château Corbin and we tasted the 2019 vintage. I think that was like more complex.
Yeah, I think the 2019 vintage was, and Annabelle also confirmed that this was a great vintage. And actually, they have quite a few vineyards that are like 50, what was the oldest plot? I think
16 years.
Yeah, so the new wines that we tasted are made from the same vines, some of them,
Yes.
like this one.
With the same grapes.
Same grapes.
Everything.
Yeah.
Just the technology
Oh,
changed because she said that they started to ferment the grapes in concrete vats. So maybe that's a difference.
Yeah. I wonder what they used before.
I think the concrete vats are from like 2016 or 17.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
What an amazing journey. We made so many symbolic experiences this year, like finding the first flowers of this year's vintage at Château Corbin's vineyard.
Also, this was the 100th anniversary being Château Corbin in their family.
Our first primeur tasting.
Yeah, actually. And also, obviously, being able to find 2 bottles of our same vintage, our birth year, and how symbolic it is that it was listed just 2 of this vintage. So, and this way, we actually experienced the past, the present, and the future of Château Corbin by tasting the primeur as well. So this made the whole story complete. So we would like to thank again Annabelle for inviting us to Château Corbin. It was really a great experience. So thank you, Annabelle. And thank you for our viewers for watching this video. We hope that it was just as meaningful for you as for us. And if you want to see more wine videos from us, feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram at Wine Inspires. And if you want to support our work, feel free to join our Patreon or our YouTube memberships. Cheers.
Cheers.